You're watching TVC Breakfast. Let's get to our next discussion now. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has again emerged as the flag bearer of the People's Democratic Party for Nigeria's 2023 presidential election. Atiku Abubakar beat Rivers Governor Nyesom Wike, former President of the Senate Bukola Saraki, and Governor of Bauchi State Bala Mohammed to clinch the presidential ticket of the opposition party. So joining me from Abuja to discuss the fallout of the PDP presidential primary is Ogun State PDP governorship aspirant and former spokesperson and spokesman for Atiku campaign organization, Segun Sowunmi. It's nice to have you join us right now.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Great. Right.
All right. I want to throw the first question. The emergence of Atiku...
Okay, fire on.
The emergence of Atiku Abubakar is hailed by members of your party, but some people are raising fundamental questions about its implication for Nigerian unity. That the governors gathered together over a year ago and said the presidency must come to the south for there to be fairness in this country. Has PDP now upturned the road to Nigerian unity? Has that put a price to Nigerian presidency ahead of Nigerian unity?
Well, thank you very much. Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Look, let us lay it properly as it should be laid. Political parties are uniquely set up and they run according to their own rules and things they believe will work for them. The whole concept of zoning is purely a political party issue. And the zoning that each party thinks about or sees or tries to do is as it affects it. For emphasis, between 1999 to 2015, when the PDP was in charge of the country, we went to the south for 8 years with Obasanjo. We went back to the northwest for another intention of 8 years, but Yaradua died. The Constitution does not give us an opportunity to change the vice president in the middle of the play. Therefore, by default, we got to south-south. We then stayed there for another 4 years until 2015. By 2019, we zoned to the northeast, not just the north. And Atiku Abubakar was the candidate, and we played it on. Ideally, it would have been for 8 years. Now, the country is divided into 6 zones, and it's important that we do not try to, put it under the carpet or pretend that these zonings are not clear. We have 3 zones in the north and 3 zones in the south. Of the southern zones, all of the 2 other zones have produced president in PDP. Southwest has, South-South has. We have an equity challenge with the southeast. In the northern zone, only the northeast, northwest has produced. We have an equity challenge in the northwest and in the north central. In the wisdom of the planners and the drivers of our party, they left it open so that the best man and the one that can at least be a Nigerian candidate can win. In our convention, where we did our primaries, you will notice that the North Central was represented by Bukola Saraki. The Southeast had a few people leading the pack, being the former Senate President Pius Ayim. The Northeast had Atiku Abubakar, even the Northwest, until the step down had His Excellency, the former governor, the present governor of Sokoto State. And even the Southwest had Dele Momodu, our colleague, and Governor Ayofa. That tells you that because the PDP realized that the situation is a little bit different now, it left it open. And do not imagine that just because His Excellency Atiku Abubakar has won, that maybe anything untoward happened to the unity of the party. No, it didn't. Politics is a strong and difficult negotiating process when it comes to implementation. The burden of zoning lies more with the APC because they have, in their own unique situation, been in the northwest for the past 8 years. And it will be important and interesting to see how hard they will try to do equity by their own arrangement. There is no pan-Nigerian zoning arrangement for political parties. That which we discuss among the governors is just the wish of a section of the country, however highly placed they are. When it comes to zoning, stakeholders are involved, DOT is involved, the rank and file is involved. But if it be democracy, if we don't do it by consensus, the only other way you can do it is either by negotiation or by direct primaries. In the case of a well-tested, robust democratic institution that PDP is, we have opted for a primary system. And to the glory of God, all Nigerians and all lovers of Nigerians, including the ones outside the country, you saw how organized our process was. You saw how beautiful it was choreographed. And you saw how a winner emerged. And we thank God and we are happy for it. Luckily for us, the Atiku Abubakar that has emerged is a pan-Nigerian through and through. And he will be a Nigerian president because he never campaigned on trying to be a zonal or sectional president. Atiku will represent the Nigerians. Atiku will represent all people of faith. Atiku will represent our diversity. Atiku will unify us. And we are only happy and we are lucky for it.
Right, so Mr. Sowunmi, that hasn't stopped many loud objections now from critical pan-tribal groups somewhat. PANDEF has also been speaking and even gone as far as telling its kinsmen and women not to give the PDP any of its votes as we are seeing panning out. If you also recall, at the last general election, Mr. Atiku Abubakar's running mate was Peter Obi. We saw how that earned the party substantial votes from that region. What happens now, and how do you respond to all these condemnations by these critical bodies?
Thank you. Before now, even before we came to an outcome, I had advised at another forum that, look, cultural organization, Afenifere, Ohaneze, Pande, Arewa Consultative Forum, need to be told in very clear terms that we have a duty to keep building a united Nigeria. It is not in the country's interest for cultural organization to begin to jump into a political arena when in this country all we run politics is according to party. You can lobby, you can converse, you can speak to your members that are there, but at the end of the day, cultural organizations are not political parties, and they will not be allowed to take over the responsibility vested in political party, per the Electoral Act, per their constitution, and per the Nigerian constitution. In this case, naturally, a few frayed nerves will be rubbed. It doesn't matter if you had gone the other way, a few frayed nerves would have still been rubbed. But one thing you can take for the PDP is that we will calm frayed nerves. We will discuss with everybody. We will reach out to all stakeholders. We will engage all of the tendencies in the country, and we will find a unified umbrella that can accommodate all people. And we must also be very, very careful that because our country is on tender hooks with security and unity issues for now, we need to all as stakeholders guard ourselves, speak to peace, speak to national unity, speak to things that edify us, and reduce all of those things that divide us. A political party has the responsibility, according to the law, to plan, to organize, to pick a candidate for itself. And once you bring in the delegates, for emphasis, once you bring in the delegate, until the votes are casted and counted, you never can be sure who has won. On this day, a man that has been consistently in the race, who has been having a lot of assets by just the sheer number of times he's contested and the kind of sustainable, important, unifying message he puts across, has won on the side of the PDP. If there be a zoning challenge, the equity challenge is more with APC. Because PDP could say to Nigerians, hey Nigerians, we gave you Obasanjo, a Yoruba man, we gave you Jonathan, a Yoruba man, if now we give you Atiku Abubakar, let us all rally around. But what would the APC say? The APC has been in the northwest, for the only time they've won in the presidency. If there be an equity challenge, nobody should hoodwink us or try to browbeat us into an agenda that rarely stares APC more than anybody else in the face.
All right, now, Segun, the point there is one issue that Nigerians have continually responded or reacted to following the convention is the monetization or dollarization, or someone says the dollar reign at the convention that even led to EFCC being present, physically present at the convention center. How concerned are you when Nigerians have the perception that the outcome of the convention was bought by the highest bidder?
Well, I think that we must be careful that we do not allow rumor to become fact because we are repeating it and repeating it. There is no evidence that when EFCC operative went there, maybe because of the excessive rumor around money, they found even a shred of dollar there. I am not arguing with the fact that perhaps something happened in the background, but the truth remains that sometimes these things are over-exaggerated to scare other people. People will throw in every argument. Oh, it costs so much. Oh, it's this much. And those that are lily-livered, who do not understand that the thing yields to a whole lot more, may be scared. I'm not particularly accepting that the process was monetized excessively, save for the ones that can be proven. And if you look at the one that can be proven, our presidential ticket was given out and sold or maybe bought at 40 million. It's high, but look at how much our rivals, the APC, have sold theirs. They have gone 2.5 times over and above that, 250%. They sold it at 100 million. So if you are looking for the political party that dollarizes, that criminalizes, that spends excessive money on this process, you need to look in the mirror and you're going to see that the people you see there are the APC people and their party and their people. As far as PDP is concerned, we usually work within a very, very narrow and decent prison. And nobody, I repeat, should try to blackmail us or take anything from our primaries, which was a choreographed fiesta that was so beautiful to behold, that the people were energized, that the place was well done, that it was done within time, as against what we are contending with. Nigerians, politics is not for the lily-livered. Do not be excessively afraid. Yes, some money will be spent, but money alone will not do everything. People vote for a whole lot more. On this occasion, what had happened with the PDP delegate is that they have voted for a unifier and they have voted for Atiku, and it is extremely pleasing in our eyes.
You seem to have contradicted yourself in your answer to my question earlier about bringing the whole thing to disunity in the country. And you said your party, that's the PDP, was not involved in zoning, and then you were the one that said, well, it's the same party that gave Jonathan, that gave Obasanjo, and then you said that Atiku was a Northeast candidate. Even Atiku himself, in coming out, didn't present himself as a Northeast candidate. He presented himself as a national candidate. The same Atiku that in another era ran as a zoned candidate. This is hypocrisy, isn't it?
Hello, Mr. Sam. You are clear, and I have maintained consistently that as far as Atiku is concerned, the place of birth is just an accident of history that no one can repair. Who your parents are, where they choose to born you, the schools they sent you for elementary is purely things you can't control. And in that context of the zoning which you are talking about, I was just showing you that we should snap away from the hypocrisy of thinking that there are 3 zones in the south and only 1 zone in the north. And of course, Adamawa happens to by accident fall in the northeastern zone. And I was trying to show you that you cannot say anybody has been disenfranchised because somebody from that section won. If somebody from the North Central has won too, we would not say Nigeria has been different, because those two zones have also not produced president. And I did say to you and lay it flat on the table that as far as PDP is concerned, the only equity challenge we have is the Southeastern equity challenge, because for some reason we have not been able to produce a president of Southeastern extraction. But we will one day. We will one day. We will one day soon. Atiku is a Nigerian president. It's beyond arguments. It's beyond conjectures. All of his life and the things he has done with himself indicates that the way a man sees himself, the way a man projects himself, so he is. Atiku ran as a unifier. That argument, that adjective, that one word was deliberate to infuse into the Nigerian nation that in the business of trying to choose a presidential candidate, we do not need to split the country beyond what is necessary. But even
I have a follow-up.
Has taken place.
I have a follow-up to that. I have a follow-up to that. And that is that the entrance of people like Wike, Udom, and a few others in the South was actually a protest from the South against the northernization of the PDP presidential ticket. And the fact that they lost was also seen by many, even within your party, that this was a misnomer, and that if peradventure Atiku wins the presidency, we are going to have a situation where a northern president hands over to another northern president, and then a Fulani president hands over to another Fulani president. Is that the kind of country of unity that we're looking forward to?
Hello, Mr. Sam. I can identify a hooded monk even when he tries to speak in a different tone. The issues as we see it in PDP is what I've tried to explain to you. Our party, over the years that we have been created, have been consistently rotating 8 years because of the right of first refusal. And I did say to you, at some point in time we came to the Southwest. At another point in time we were in the South-South. At another point in time we tried to be in the Northwest, the man died, and the South-South continued. And now we are in the Northeast. It seems to me that all of those years, while we were being equitable, what were your friends, the APC and the SCN and co doing? They consistently sat in one corner of the country. They can't come now and come and say to us or to Nigerians that in spite of the fact that we have been equitable, now that they have an equity challenge, it's up to them to act right. Nothing is stopping APC from throwing his presidential ticket anywhere it so desires. We have gone through a political process. Our process is democratic. The votes were counted. Nobody was prevented from buying form. Nobody was prevented from reaching out to delegates. An outcome has happened. A candidate has emerged. We are happy for it. We told you clearly, this is a pan-Nigerian man. This is a unifier. This is a man who said, I pledge. I pledge. He kept saying, I pledge. I will bring all Nigerians together. So, what more do you want? What more do you want? And don't forget, I'm aware that in your corner of the world, especially in your state structure, you hardly ever do equity. You only pander to the wishes and the caprices of a few tendencies.
What
now
corner?
You're about your party.
What corner of the world?
What you support?
What corner of the world? Segun, what corner of the world?
To see how it went.
What corner of the world?
At your zonal convention or your national convention, where you pick your chairman, is anything to go by. I expect you to start beating them, and everybody will be coming to say, oh, because of Mr. A, I stepped down. Because you couldn't even do democracy.
Well, Mr. Sowunmi, I want us to
Masha to be a politician.
I'm not a politician. That's what they call red herring. But what we are saying, in essence, is that PDP has rotated the presidency from the northeast to the northeast. Because Atiku was your candidate the last time as your candidate again. So it's from the northeast to the northeast, isn't it?
But let me also ask before you answer Sam's analysis there. Let me ask so that we also focus on the PDP and not deviate to the APC. Okay, so it appears that the dust hasn't settled even within the PDP, even though Mr. Abubakar has said he will rebuild the party. His emergence as a flag bearer eventually still has unsettled, some. We've mentioned the Governor Wike now. Of course, we saw how he was rooting to be the flag bearer, and it's on record, so to speak, that he has even refused to congratulate Mr. Abubakar. So what magic wand is the PDP flag bearer hoping to wield at this time to unite the party?
I understand that sometimes the gladiators on the other side will desire and wish that only crisis will exist in the camp of their rivals. But hello, you can go to the bank with it. The political process from tomorrow will begin to show that the PDP is a super party. People will hug ourselves, will speak to ourselves, we'll do the hard negotiation, we'll form a unified campaign, and certainly we will win the next election. If it is so that the desire of the collegiates, which are the delegates, is that they have chosen in a democratic process that has followed the law, that has followed our guidelines, that has followed the constitution, that is observed by INEC, more cannot be said. You can have this fixation, if you like, on what you thought should have happened and it could have happened and could have happened and didn't happen or may have happened. What I can only tell you is that whatever happened with our primaries was a signature of all eyes, as all persons of goodwill, the ones that are fair-minded, saw how it played out. And you see how it was. His Excellency, the Governor of Rivers State, energetic, full of drive, honest, passionate. You saw the number he got. What I'm trying to show you, my dear friend, is that we are beginning to evolve. It is the man who does the job of how to win that usually wins. If he's lucky, on this day he has won. After all, the Southeasterners were also on that ballot. After all, the North Central was on the ballot. But the electorate, the candidate they chose. I am eager to have a post-APC presidential analysis with you guys, because I know that at the end of the day, your process or the process of the APC, to put it that way, it's going to leave a lot of sour taste. It's even beyond embarrassing that they even have to change the date. But that is that. As far as PDP is concerned, we're saying to Nigerians, your darling party is back. We have given you a candidate that can unify you. We have given you a candidate you know, even by the congratulatory message of one of the leaders of the APC in person of Ashwaji Bola Tinubu. He said that, oh, I know how committed Atiku Abubakar is to Nigeria, and I have known him for a while. Democracy is in progress. It is evolving well. None of the candidates have said he was cheated. You cannot force people to put their thumbprint. They have put it where they put it. Today I have won, my man has won, my candidate has won. He is candidate of everybody. And by the grace of God, he will be president of everybody.
Okay. All right, Segun Sowunmi, let's put you on a hold briefly. We'll be right back to a round off on this discussion of the fallout of the PDP primaries. Right, you're watching TVC Breakfast. We're discussing the fallout of the PDP presidential primaries that held over the weekend. And our guest is Segun Sowunmi, the Ogun State PDP governorship candidate. And my co-hosts in the studio, Samuel Mashaye, as well as Kemi Folade. We've been looking at this together. So,
yes, Segun, are you there?
Yeah, I am. I hope you guys are back.
Yeah, we're back, and you're trying to talk about the hood and the monk and all of that and so on. You're trying to insinuate that we're at PDP. We're just being journalists here asking questions, and it seems that you're uncomfortable with it, and rather than you're trying to act like the snake that has been thrown to the wall, he needs to do is to shoot. That's not it. I just want you to answer clear question. Did PDP zone the presidency from the northeast to the northeast?
Well, for your information, the PDP, let me even give you some background. After the 2019 election, we set up a committee headed by Governor Bala Mohammed of Ogun State, where we said, go around and look at what has happened and make some far-reaching recommendations. One of the recommendations that they made is that, one, for 2023, the PDP must leave it open. And that is on the backdrop of an Ikeremadun report that worked on the 2015, post-2015, which also said for PDP, the zoning must be maintained for 8 years. So if we go south, we stay with 8 years. If we come north, we stay 8 years. And within that complex, the Bala Mohammed Committee also said 2023 will be a bit unique. It seems to be that we have some issues around equity and allowing people for accommodation. You have to leave it open so that we see how it pays out. And don't forget, in all of our push, once a political party opens up its form, and people are encouraged to pick the form and indicate interest, the only thing you can now do is persuade. Because whatever it is you are calling zoning, it's not even constitutional, neither is it justiciable. Administrative convenience of political party to make them win elections cannot be cast in iron. It is sacrosanct that nature itself is dynamic. And you could have seen how keenly contested all our contestants, and good Lord, I bless them all and I greet them all, crisscross the country looking for the heart of the delegates. One of the things that probably even made the outcome was because the number of people who now finally became delegates because of the situation that your APC government has thrown us in with the Electoral Act, was that the delegate number now was very small. So people had very little space to maneuver. You cannot be sure if we had had all of those, at a delegate, statutory and all that, former this, former that, former this, former that, you couldn't predict exactly how it would have played out. You cannot eat your cake and have it. The rules are the rules. The law is the law. The guideline is the guideline. And PDP has followed it through and through. And we are proud of our outcome. We will manage the fallout. We will draw everybody in. We will appeal to everybody. We will celebrate everybody. We need everybody to be on board for the sake of the Nigerian people. Because the last 7 years has been anything but a harrowing experience around insecurity, around excruciating poverty, around gross unemployment, and around unprecedented corruption. Only one man can sit on the chair per time. And the presidency of Nigeria is not going to be extinct after tomorrow. How many days ago did Buhari just become president? And we're already talking about a successor. So I believe that if we continue to work on it, even those that have not produced president now, their day will come. Imagine how long it has taken Atiku too. So we thank God for what has happened. We are pleased with the outcome. And we encourage our persons to be on board.
Okay, looks like you have agreed with me that you guys are zoning from northeast to northeast. Now the next question I want to ask.
If you have fixated on that, I can't help you with that.
You have agreed with me because that's all you have just said. All the rigmarole was about that. Anyway, I want to ask a question. Given the bazaar that took place in the primaries, I mean the bazaar of money changing hands, which I would describe as bizarre, will PDP go and investigate what its own chieftains have said about monetization of the primaries, if they are really sincere about it, because major names, Ayatuddin, Peter Obi, before he moved from Peter to Post, all of them were in the party, and they complained about this in public. Are you going to tell me that your party is going to commit to that, or you are going to just crown a corrupt prize?
Well, I wish those who complained about the monetization in the PDP, especially the gentleman you mentioned, I wish they had gone to APC. So they would have compared their 40 million they paid for their form to the 100 million that is being demanded in APC. We all know that the political process is expensive, but we know that in the PDP we are a little bit more reasonable. To drive the point home, even women in PDP get their form at almost free. You couldn't even do the same in the APC. Young people in PDP get their form at a very discounted rate. You couldn't do the same in the APC. So long and short is, of course, the PDP, like you heard from the presidential candidates, that we will improve the democratic process of our party. We will rewrite our playbook. We will look at our processes again. We will make them to have a lot more integrity. We will try as much as possible to de-emphasize money. But if it is a known fact that Nigerians like money, then we probably need to do more national reorientation for people to understand that when it comes to picking candidates, we must be looking at other things. And to God be the glory. In the PDP convention, that the delegate looked at other things. They looked at experience. They looked at voting numbers. They looked at who can unify everybody. They looked at who can share power. They looked at who can get the job done. They looked at who can form government almost immediately, not within 6 months. They looked for whose message resonated. And they picked Atiku Abubakar. And we must respect their choices. In terms of working on the improvements, may God help us, we will work on the improvement. It's not perfect yet, but it's certainly better than the frying pan of APC. Certainly better than the fire of APC. Certainly better than whatever is going on with our rivals.
All right. Thank you very much, Segun Sowunmi. We have to wrap it up here now. We thank you very much for your insight into the issues we've looked at today, and we look forward to a great future for Nigeria at the end of the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.